Hello, it's Mark Leonard with your video thought for the day. All right, this week we've been talking about children in the Bible and lessons that we can learn regardless of what age we are. And today I want to go back to the Old Testament to a couple of, actually two kids in a sense, who were, for lack of a better way of saying it, let me just tell you this story. This story is found in 2 Kings chapter 22. Starts a little bit at the end of chapter 21. And here's the story. There was a wicked king of Judah. And by wicked, I mean he didn't follow the Lord. He didn't pay attention to the Lord. He didn't even know really the Lord. He worshiped idols, and he was basically not any different than a pagan king. And his name was Manasseh. Manasseh died, and when he died, he left his son to be the next king. Now, his son's name was Ammon. And Ammon was like his daddy. Ammon at the time was 22 years old. And I want to go back in time to when Ammon was, say, 15, a teenager. When Ammon was 15, a teenager, he got married. They did things younger back then, and had a baby. So he had the baby probably around the age of 16. He named the baby Yoshi Yahu. They named people differently then too. So Ammon has a baby. He's named Yoshi Yahu, and this baby grows up. Now, here's what happened. Ammon becomes king because his dad, the evil king Manasseh, was killed. And so Ammon is an evil king just like his dad. He walked that same path his dad walked. And walking in that path, he worshiped idols. He didn't worship the Lord. And he was basically a pagan king. After 2 years of being king, at the age of 24, the servants of the palace killed him, dead, assassinated him. And before long, the people decided that the next king should be the son of Ammon. And the son of Ammon, you'll recall, was Yoshi Yahu. Now, Yoshi Yahu is made king, and at this point in time, Yoshi Yahu is only 8 years old. But unlike all of his other kings in his immediate lineage, his dad, his grandfather, Yoshi Yahu was a good king. His mother had evidently been quite a devout woman. And with a godly mother, Yoshi Yahu learned to love the Lord. And while he didn't have a dad who was much of a dad who walked in evil ways and did evil before the Lord, Yoshi Yahu himself was not like his dad. He chose to be different. And he followed his godly mother. And when his dad was murdered, the Lord put godly prophets and priests in the life of Yoshi Yahu, so that Yoshi Yahu would have a good, godly mentoring system in place to help him be a godly king. And he was. 2 Kings 22 says that Yoshi Yahu did what was right in the eyes of the Lord. He didn't turn to the left, and he didn't turn to the right. He stayed right on track. And he was an amazing king. He'd been on the throne, a little over a dozen years when he sent money for a refurbishment that was being done to the temple. And in the process, they'd found in the temple an old copy of the law, the Torah, the book of Moses, maybe Deuteronomy. We don't know for sure which, but it was a long forgotten book. And Yoshi Yahu had it read to all of the people, and he realized how sinful the nation had been, and he called them all to repentance. He was a marvelous king. By the way, if you're looking for this story in your English Bible, you won't see Yoshi Yahu called Yoshi Yahu. You'll see him called Josiah. That's the way it turned into English. But if you'd called out Josiah, he wouldn't have known you were talking to him. He was Yoshi Yahu. So Yoshi Yahu is someone that God supported. That's the meaning of his name. And he walked in the path of that support God gave to him. So here's your video thought for the day. Whether you're 8 years old, or whether you're 14 or 15, or whether you're 22, or whether you're 150, it doesn't matter what your parents have done. You have a chance to walk with God. And the sooner you start, the more blessed your life will be. So think of it this way. I'm going to do right in the eyes of the Lord, and I'm not going to turn left, and I'm not going to turn right. And that's your video thought for the day.